Dante's Inferno, Canto V. So I descended from the first circle into the second, which girds a lesser space with so much greater pain to urge anguish. There sits Minos, horrible, growling. He examines the guilty in the entrance. He judges and sends according to his coiling. I say that when the ill-born soul comes before him it confesses all, and that connoisseur of sin sees what level of hell is most fit for it. He coils himself in his tale as many times as there are grades down which the soul's been sent. Forever in front of him stands a multitude. One by one they come conquered to the judgment. They speak and they hear, and then they are thrown down. "O you who come to the dolorous abode," spoke Minos when he saw me, leaving the act of his high office, "watch how you enter, and whom you believe. Don't let the wide way lull you." And my leader to him, "Why all the screeching? Don't halt his fated way. It is willed thus there where will and act are one. Now ask no more." Now begin the agonizing notes. Now I have come there where a great complaint beats against my ear. I came into a place mute of every light, bull-bellowing as the sea in a storm, beaten by contrary winds. The hellish squall, never resting, sweeps the spirits in its rapine, molests them with whirling and beating. When rushed ahead of the ruin, oh how they shriek their complaints, their laments, oh how they rage at the divine power. I understood that thus the lustful sinners are damned to be tormented, those who yoke their reason to desire. And as the starling's wings bear them up in the cold in large full flocks, so does that breath drive the bad spirits, here and there and up and down and around. No hope can ever comfort them, no hope of rest or lesser pain. And as the cranes go chanting their songs, forming a long file in the air, so I saw come heaving sighs, shades rushed on by that troubled breeze. To which I said, "Master, who are these people the black shade lashes?" "The first of these new shades you wish to know," he said, "was empress of many tongues. So broken by lechery was she, that in her law she made lust licit to turn away the blame in her conduct. She is Semiramis, of whom it's read that she was Ninus's wife and his successor. She held the land the Sultan now commands. The other is she who slew herself in desire, and broke faith with Zacchaeus' ashes. Then there's lusty Cleopatra. You see Helen, for whom such ill-spent time rolled by, and you see the great Achilles, who contended with love at the last. Look at Paris, Tristan, and more than 1,000 shades he showed me, naming as he pointed, those love cut from our life. When I heard my teacher speak the names of the ladies and knights of antiquity, pity seized me, and I was as one lost. I began, "Poet, I should wish to speak to these two who go together and seem so light on the wind." And he to me, "Watch for when they're nearer, and then appeal to them in that love that takes them, and they will come." As soon as the wind bent them toward us, I moved my voice. "O breathless soul, come speak to us, if it's not forbidden above." As doves called by desire, move through the air with wings raised and still to the sweet nest borne by will, so they left the crowd around Dido, coming to us through the malign air, so strong was my affectionate cry. O living man, gracious and benign, you who come visiting us through the wasted air, we who tinged the world with blood, if the King of the universe should be our friend, we would pray to him for your peace, since you pity our perversity. We would listen and speak to you of that you'd like to hear and say, while the wind as now is still. I was born on that shore where the Po descends to the sea in peace with its several streams. Love, so quick to seize the gentle heart, impressed this man with the beautiful body taken from me, and the way still offends me. Love that pardons none loved from loving, so pressed me with the pleasure of his presence that, as you see, it's not yet abandoned me. Love led us together to death. Caina awaits the one who spilled our life. These words were borne out from them to me. When I understood those afflicted souls, I bowed my gaze, and held it low so long until the poet said, "What do you think?" I began, when at last I replied, "Oh, what time, what sweet thoughts, how much desire have led them to this painful pass!" Then once more I turned to them and spoke, and I began, "Francesca, your martyrdom makes me weep with pity and distress. But tell me, at the time of the sweet sighs, how did love reveal your doubtful desires to your minds?" And she to me, "There is no greater pain than to recall that happy time in misery. Your teacher knows this well. But if you so wish to know the prime root of our love, I will tell you as one who tells in weeping. For pleasure one day we were reading of Lancelot, how love entranced him. We were alone and without the least suspicion. Again that reading urged our eyes to meet, discoloring our faces. But it was a single stop that conquered us. When we read of the desired smile, kissed by such a lover, this man, who'll never be divided from me, trembling all over, kissed me on the mouth. A Galahalt was the book as well as he who wrote it. That day we read no further on. While the one shade said this, the other wept, so that in pity I came down as if I'd died, and I fell as a corpse falls. Plainly my translation suffers from a host of inadequacies. Indeed, it seems that the best any translator can hope for is to produce the least inadequate thing within his power. To that end, I have worked with three principles in mind. First, to convey as nearly as possible the sense of Dante's words. Second, to preserve what of Dante's sound may best remain in English. And third, to accomplish these first two in such a way as to emphasize the comic richness of the text. Let's take two examples. Dante describes Minos as quel conoscitor delle peccata. Conoscitor, of course, means most literally knower, or, as the Hollanders have it, accomplished judge. But I have chosen the somewhat loaded term connoisseur. In terms of the look and sound of the words, the reasoning here is clear. The sense seems accurate as well, given that a connoisseur is indeed an accomplished judge. I thought it somewhat amusing, too, to conceive of Minos as a sort of infernal sommelier, parsing out the provenance of each damned vintage. The comedy has a richer sense to it, of course, when we consider Jesus' frequent reference to vines and vine-growers, culminating perhaps in John chapter 15. It was, no doubt, with such images in mind that Hans Urs von Balthasar, in his magnificent Heart of the World, referred to the vintages of salvation. Later on, when Dante questions Francesca concerning her suffering, he begins, "Francesca, I tuoi martiri." Reading the Italian for the first time, I was naturally struck by the use of the word martiri, which I have chosen to translate as martyrdom. Again, the sonic reasoning will be plain. And though Dante's Italian differs somewhat from the modern Florentine tongue, though not perhaps so much as various Italian dialects differ among themselves, it seems difficult to separate any version of the word martiri from other notions of martyrdom. Moreover, the choice seems appropriate when we consider the pilgrim's attitude toward the sinners in this canto. He pities them to the point of swooning. It is thus not difficult to see him thinking of the lustful pair as martyrs for love, as indeed so many readers have seen fit to think of them.